The producer of this show, my excellent producer, Samara Gill, turned ace reporter, and she went down there to have a look at the demonstrations and to speak and talk to some of the parents involved. And this is her report.
Here I am in West Drayton. Now this is really a microcosm for what is going on in the country. We've got a community behind me protesting primarily about the massive illegal migrant hotel that has cropped up just a couple meters away from the local primary school. This is a community who is quite frankly done with what's going on. They did not want hundreds of illegal migrants dumped in their community. And now this is what's happening as a result of that. We've heard a lot of horrendous stories today of children not feeling safe, women not feeling safe. Is that impacted you?
100%. The other week I was in the Mulberry Park, actually last week, and I was with my 3 children. I'm a single parent. My children are very young. So there was a group of about 8 men. They had broken through the fence, the illegal migrants, broken through the fence, and it was like a stampede, them all coming through, and I just grabbed my kids and I ran to the car. And everyone was like, call the police. I was like, they're not going to help us, but we are in a group, a WhatsApp group, and as soon as I put a message out, someone was there within minutes. Right. The community,
not the police.
Not the police, no.
There were a lot of them here today.
Yes,
yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. There's a lot of them. I think they were expecting it not to go as well as it has, peaceful. Many children here, families and things like that, so that's what we're all about. We haven't ever been violent or aggressive or anything like that. It was really the other way round. There was a garden centre that shut down, the A&E, the schools. It needs to be poured back into us. We're all struggling, wherever we come from. Everyone is struggling in each way. So we need to stop that and give the community back what it deserves.
You're here today. Why are you here today?
I'm here to protect the kids and how I have the streets safer for when I have kids. Because I'm scared. Because I'm scared if anything's going to happen to me. Because being a white girl is really scary at this time. Loads of people call me racist for going to these, but I just want to be able to feel safe in my own community, and I just want to be able to walk the streets like my dad and my mum used to without a worry.
Not going to school at the moment. What's happening there?
People are calling me racist at school for going to the marches, and they're calling me far right. But the thing is, I'm not far right. I respect everyone's cultures, their religion, where they come from and their background. I just want to be able to feel safe.
This here behind me is the school that is creating the march that we can just see just there. That school is pretty much at the centre of a lot of the discontent that the community is feeling because the school is so close to a illegal migrant hotel. So that there is the quite controversial underpass that is connecting the school to just above here. There will be the hotel in question. Here is the highly controversial Holiday Inn. Got a lot of police guarding it, and we've got the protest going past right there. They've been allowed in by the police. We're going to go in now and see what happens.
Because we've had enough of everybody in this community being put second, being put last. My child has to decide whether she has a bottle of water and something to eat at first break or second break. They're getting 4-star treatment while our soldiers are sleeping homeless. Our elderly aren't being treated fairly. They are getting first-class treatment for we don't even know who they are. We are not racist, we are not hate, but we have to protect our own.
The children feel safe playing here, just with the migrant hotel behind me. But that's because the whole community is here to protect them. Well, a massive turnout today. How do you feel? What's the emotion?
All of us in general feel really good about it. All about the community. This is about the kids and the future for our kids, the future for ourselves. Unfortunately, this hotel has now been, well, half of this hotel has now been open to members of the general public. And in reality, why would you want to take your children and be in a? Don't get me wrong. You don't know even in a normal hotel who's in the room next to you. But in a situation like this, to know that the people that could be in the room below you, above you, or even next to you that no idea who they are.
Yeah.
Completely and utterly undocumented men. Like everywhere else, Germany, France, Poland, America, they're all pro their own country, their own people, and this is what we need to be doing. We need to be putting ourselves first.
We're heading off to a second hotel. Why are you here today?
Because of it, basically the government should not be paying for all these hotels, because they should put it towards the mental health system, because the mental health system is so corrupt and really bad. So I think they should be putting more money to the mental health team, and so to pay for more properties for the soldiers who fought for the country to be put somewhere in hotels safe.
Yeah.
And they get more than what I get.
Right.
And I have to provide for my family, pay rent and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not fair.
Here we are outside the Novotel. This is a second hotel that is housing a lot of illegal migrants. I've been told not to stand too close to the windows because they do lean out and spit on people. Do you feel safe in your community as a woman?
No. Yeah, no, don't need any refugee in the hotel. Check him out, please.
I've lived here for 12 years, and over the last 5 years I've actually been frightened to come out of my own house. We have illegal immigrants walking our streets in like packs of 6 to 8 men at a time. I do not go out of my house after 5 o'clock in the evening due to this.
So you've noticed your community change substantially?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And as a female, you just don't feel safe?
No, absolutely. And I've walked these streets all my life and never felt afraid. We've had multicultural society as long as I was little. We had multicultural in school. This is not a racist issue. What this is about is our community, all our services are closed. Literally, they've closed everything for disability, anything for, all our libraries are closing, they've closed the police stations, everything is closing, but they have money for this.
Whether it's perception or reality, Britain's migrant crisis is on this community's front step.
Well, I haven't seen that before. Remarkable report. You know, just capturing, you know, the fears of these parents. And by the way, a little 12-year-old girl that Samara interviewed in the middle of that. We didn't just go up to a kid. No. We did ask the parents. Her parents were very keen for her to come on, so full parental permission there. And I thought she spoke very eloquently as well. Well, Samara Gill, our producer turned ace reporter, is in the studios. Great report, Samara. Heightened feelings down there.
Yeah, I mean, to be on the front lines like that was something really different, because we're constantly in this studio reporting on what's going on with the migrant crisis. But to actually see where it's happening was a whole other feeling. And unfortunately, what was most evident was that time and time again, it's the working class that are placed on the front lines of this absolute migrant invasion that's going on in the UK. And you could see a community that was once great and once together and once very safe, and children could walk to school, and they can now no longer do basic human rights, basic children sort of activities that they would normally do because of this sort of dumping of thousands of migrants, or at least hundreds.
Well, we should talk about Hillingdon. This is the borough where Cherry Lane Primary School is, and those hotels, particularly the big one there. There's a borough of Hillingdon, which is near Heathrow Airport. But this is the borough, the single council area with the highest number of migrants and asylum seekers per capita in the entire country. So it's almost as if the apple doesn't fall far from the trees. You know, that it's Heathrow, and you know, they're all sort of dumped there on in these hotels that tend to surround airports. Of course, most of them will have come through Dover, through the south coast, but then they get brought up to the airport, so it's kind of strange.
Some of them on planes too. Apparently some are from the Chagos Islands. There is a small fraction as well that is there, but it's enough to change the fabric.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Community.
It's like, you know, it's like right by the airport, and you know, that's where they put them. But what's interesting about that report, as you say, we sit here day in, day out and go, oh, 392 migrants came across the channel on Saturday. All very shocking. But in order to sort of start to really appreciate a story, to understand a story, you have to go and speak to the people who are affected by it. So when you hear 392 migrants came across the channel on Saturday, or was it there's 2 Saturdays, I think it was 895, and wasn't there one day last week where there was nearly 1,300. When you hear 1,300 migrants cross the channel yesterday, well, this is where they end up. They end up in these hotels, you know, many of which are right by local schools, and these parents and the kids are the people who are affected by this ongoing invasion, as you quite rightly call it, Samara, that the government's doing nothing about.
Well, exactly, and sort of everyone that I spoke to, they're hard-working British people that are genuinely just trying to put food on the table, and they were even struggling to do that. So that's the issue. That's kind of where the chasm comes with this sort of thing, because they don't have enough to provide for their own family, and they're seeing the government provide 3 meals a day, hotel, NHS, every single thing for these people who have just arrived here and never paid a cent of tax in their life. And that's where you start to get these real community tensions, which are completely founded. I mean, I spoke to absolutely everyone there. I was there for about 5 hours, and there was not a shred of so-called racism or anything like that. It was just people wanting to feel safe within their community and not wanting illegal, undocumented men roaming around their streets near their children. And a lot of those people had lived there their entire life, and they said that they just noticed a change in the last 3 to 4 years. That's when they noticed things changing. All the women I spoke to can't go outside their house at night. I mean, this is really emergency threat level. And I'm not saying that these people in the hotels are the threat, but I'm saying how the community is feeling is a real issue.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was saying earlier in the show. You take this school, it's a big school, 640 kids, all aged between 3 and 11 years old. There's been no crimes there, not that we know of anyway. That none of these migrants or asylum seekers have done anything particularly egregious or nefarious. But, you know, it seems to me kind of, well, put it this way, disconcerting that outside a kid's school, primary school, the guys smoking sheesh pipes, just all hanging around. We spoke to, you spoke to James Timms, he's one of the dads there who was in your report. Well, we spoke to him last week, and he's the guy that when they couldn't get the school to repair the playground fence, through which they say all these guys were leering and looking at the kids, James went himself and repaired it himself. Because the school kept saying, yes, we've sent off for a contract and we've put it open and we're hoping to get a reply in 2 weeks' time. And James basically said, sod this, I'll fix it myself. And he went and fixed it. But essentially, I think what these parents are saying is we've tried, we've talked to the school, you get no answer. We, on this show, put several questions to the school last week, pretty much haven't received a reply.
No, I mean, I think it's difficult because they probably feel gagged in some sort of way that they can't do much.
They could talk to us.
Yeah, they should talk to us. I mean, even that little girl there who I interviewed told me that she hasn't been to school in 3 weeks. And she said to me it wasn't included in that report, but she said, I just want to be able to go outside and play, and I can't do that anymore. And that's a basic childhood right that she's not able to have in her own country of Britain that she's been born into. And that's when I start to think we have massive problems here. And I think it won't be solved until those illegal migrants are either moved fully out of that community or at least contained. Because as you said, a lot of people that I spoke to said that they're not behaving respectfully while they are in the community. And I don't even blame them because it's their first time probably in Britain. They don't know how to act. They don't know, you know, the different social norms. And that kind of comes to the heart of the problem. You're dumping these people in the community with absolutely no sort of vision of what it actually is.
So the reality here, Samara, just to sort of summarise really, is we have kids, because we spoke to that mum, didn't we, on Friday, Leah?
Yes, I spoke to her.
A mum we spoke to on Friday about this story, this developing story. And she said she got 3 kids at that school, and all 3 of them are terrified to go to school. So you've got kids who are scared to go to school because of this kind of gauntlet of migrants they have to negotiate to get into the school. You've got their mums who don't feel safe on the streets. And I suspect that this is not unique, that too many of these asylum seeker hotels have a close proximity to local schools, and I think this situation that Samara has just brilliantly reported on is probably being repeated all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's a microcosm for what's going around. And as I said, when I was there, I did not realise how close that asylum seeker was.
I didn't either. Man, that is close.
But that shows the blatant disregard that the government has for women and children's safety, because anyone with half a brain cell would know, OK, maybe let's not place a massive migrant hotel right near a primary school. But they clearly just don't care, or have this sort of veiled perception of what an asylum seeker really is, an undocumented migrant, and the threat that it could be to the community. That school is surrounded. The 3 different hotels and then the school in the middle. It's something bad waiting to happen, and I really hope that's not the case.
Yeah, we'd call upon the school to start talking to these parents. You know, start working something out, maybe talk to the parents, talk to the police. Something should be worked out, because what you've got here is a school that kids are afraid to go to. You've got a school that mothers are afraid to escort their kids to. Mothers are afraid to walk the local streets. You've got sometimes hundreds of these migrants coming underneath the M4 to hang around this school. As I say, no one's accusing them of any crimes, but there's something wrong with this picture, isn't there? Let me know what you think. 03444991000. Thank you to producer and ace reporter Samara Gill. Great report, Samara. Thank you.